Daf Yomi, tractate Bava Batra, page 90a, top of the page, with the word ve'uchla, the comma hi uchla, echa mechamisha brevia, and an ukla. And how much is an ukla? It is 1/5 of a quarter of a kav. Uvemidas halachu osehin, v'chatzi hin, v'shlosh hin, v'yis hin, v'log, v'chatzi log, v'yis, v'shmines, v'echad, v'shmona, v'shmines, zehu kortov. And in the case of liquid measures, one may prepare a hin, which is 12 log and a half a hin, or 6 log, and a third hin, or 4 log and a quarter hin, 3 log and a log, and a half log and a quarter log and an eighth log, and an eighth of a log. This last mentioned is a kortov. Vilabed nami kebayim asila chlufe betarkav alma ta'u ina she'tilta yachi kavnami lo lebad de'ate le'ichelofe bechatzi tarkav era kabayim hainu ta'ama de'loavit de'ate le'ichelofe bechatzi tarkav. The Gemara asks, and let one also prepare a measure equal to 2 kav. The Gemara answers that this measure is not used, lest people come to mistake it for a tar kav, which is 3 kav. The Gemara observes apparently people err by 1/3 of a measure. If that is so, one should also not prepare a measure equal to a kav, as people may come to mistake it for a half tar kav, which is equal to 1 1/2 kav. Rather, this is the reason that one may not prepare a 2 kav measure, that people might come to mistake it for a half tar kav, which is equal to 1 1/2 kav. Okay? Alma ta'inish riva ihachi chatzi toman v'uchla lo lebad amarav papa midos ketanos begi behu inashi. The Gemara again suggests apparently people err by 1/4 of a measure. If that is so, one should also not prepare measures of a half toman, which is 1/16 of a kav, and an ukla, which is 1/20 of a kav, since they differ only by only 1/5. There is a concern that people might mistake one measure for the other. As Papa said, people are well versed in small measures and can distinguish between them. Shlishi dahin v'dahin lo lebad kevan av mikdash lo gazer v'rabanan mikdash nami ligzor kohanim's reasoning. The Gemara continues that people err by 1/4 of a measure. Then, since one may prepare a measure equal to 4 log, 1/3 of a hin, let one not prepare a measure equal to 3 log, 1/4 of a hin. The Gemara answers, since these measures were used in the temple, the sages did not decree that they not be used. The Gemara asks, in the temple as well, let the sages decree that they should not be used, in case the 2 measures are mistaken for each other. The Gemara answers, the priests who serve in the temple are vigilant and would not commit this error. Amar Shmuel emosifin al hamidos yoser mishtus v'lo al hamadbea yeser mishtus yamishtaker al yishtaker yoser mishtus emosifin al hamidos yoser mishtus ma'ataimo ilem v'shuma pkoi taro shtus nami lo Shmuel says if the residents of a certain place want to change the standard of their measures and augment them by a certain fraction, they may not increase the measures by more than 1/6, and they may not increase the value of a coin by more than 1/6 of its previous value. And who profits from his sales may not profit by more than 1/6. The Gemara analyzes these statements, which Shmuel said they may not increase the measures by more than 1/6. What is the reason for this? If we say it is because doing so causes market prices to rise, the same concern should apply to raising the prices by 1/6, and therefore this should also not be allowed. Ela mishmoy no denoi have bitul mekach ve'amar Rava kol davar shebemida v'sheba mishkal v'sheba binyan afilu pachos mechdi oino choizel. Rather, you will say that the prohibition is due to concern for exploitation, and they may increase the measures only by up to 1/6, so that there will not be nullification of the transaction, as the transaction is nullified only when the disparity is more than the 1/6 of the value of the item. The Gemara raises an objection. But doesn't Bava say, with regard to any item that is otherwise subject to the halachot of exploitation, and it is sold by measure or by weight or by number, even if the disparity was less than the measure of exploitation in the transaction is reversed. A disparity of 1/6 between the value of an item and its price constitutes exploitation only in cases where there is room for error in assessing the value of an item. In a case where the details of the item are easily quantifiable, any deviation from the designated quantity results in the nullification of the transaction. Rather, the prohibition is so that there will not be a loss suffered by the merchant, who might not realize that a new standard was issued and sell in accordance with the old standard, since a merchant usually enjoys a profit of 1/6 of the value of an item. If the standard is not increased by more than this amount, he will not suffer a loss, as at worst he will forfeit his profit margin. To say the who did not have in there, Ravcha de lo ba'e, Zvan Zaben Tagra Ikri. The Gemara notes this explanation is also difficult, since even if the aim is to ensure that there will not be a loss for the merchant, does he not need to earn a profit? There is a well-known adage in this regard. If you buy and sell without making a profit, will you be called a merchant? A merchant must profit from his sales. Therefore, if this decree was instituted for the protection of merchants, the sages should have ensured that they earn a profit. Ela amar Rav Chizda Shmuel kra ashkach udrash v'hashekel 20 gera 20 shkalim 5 shkalim 25 shekel hamaneh yeh lachem. Rather, Rav Chizda said the prohibition is not based on logical reasoning. Instead, Shmuel found the verse and interpreted it homiletically. And the shekel shall be 20 gera, 20 shekels, 5 and 20 shekels, 10 and 5 shekels, shall be your maneh. Ezekiel 45:12. According to this verse, the combination of all these numbers, 60 shekels, is equivalent to a maneh.